And all right, I am live. I'm a few minutes late because I was trying to sort out some technical stuff. All right, I'm gonna just wait a few seconds for people to jump on. I think I went an hour earlier today than I did last week. I think last week I went at 3, but I think from here on out it's going to be at 2 o'clock because the one last week tended to run just a little bit longer than I anticipated. So I'm going to try to keep it under an hour. But the tea that I'm talking about today has quite a few ingredients, so might be a little bit longer as well. The tea I'm going to be doing today is a gentle detox tea. This is not my powerhouse detox, which I think I'll talk about probably closer to Thanksgiving. Or maybe I should just pull that one out and discuss that one next week. I think that will probably be the best thing. So either next week or the week after. But the one that we're talking about today is a very, very gentle detox tea. Not anything like the powerhouse that I usually drink around Thanksgiving and Christmas time when I tend to eat a little bit more like we all do, right? All right, so first of all, who am I? If you're new to my lupus page, the Beating Lupus the Natural Way, then you probably have no idea who I am. I'm the administrator of that page in addition to a few other pages as well. I also have a YouTube channel, which I'm also streaming to today. So if you're watching from YouTube, just go ahead and pop a comment in the chat section, and so I can see that you know where you're watching from. You're probably also watching from the two Facebook pages, the lupus page, Beating Lupus the Natural Way, or the karate page. So just as you come on, just say a quick hello so I can have an idea of where you are watching this stream from. So I am, like I said, my name is Gina, and I started the lupus page, I think about 8 years ago now, 8 or 9 years ago, when I was shortly after I was diagnosed with lupus myself. And my goal was to heal my body from lupus, which I ended up doing about 2 years ago. But it took, it was quite a journey. And I've documented that journey on several, you know, on my lupus page, in addition to several articles that I've written. Last year, I became a master herbalist after quite a few years of studying herbalism and aromatherapy and a lot of natural ways of working with natural products to heal the body. So those are the things that I've documented on the lupus page, as well as on different sites where I write as well. And last week, I started sharing a few of the tea blends that I created over the years. The one that I shared last week, I will go ahead and I will add the link to that one below this particular video whenever this stream is finished, and I will also tag it onto the YouTube video so that you'll be able to go back and watch that one as well. As you're coming on, just pop a quick hello into the chat so I can just let me know where you're watching from, if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube. So I'm coming to you today as not necessarily what I'm going to talk about is the detox tea, and it's one of the blends that I started working with maybe 6 years ago. I think it was one of the first that I created. And like I said, this is a very gentle one. It's not going to a lot of people, when they drink a detox tea, kind of, you know, it's really painful as far as on the gut area, because it's strong and it really works on the stomach and then throughout the liver or the kidneys, that sort of thing. It's not supposed to be a painful process. So but the one that I've created that I'm going to share with you for today is just a very, very, very gentle detox tea. And like I said before, I'm going to share the other one, what I call my powerhouse detox, closer to Thanksgiving, or maybe after Thanksgiving, in between that area, just before we get to Christmas, because I know a lot of people tend to eat a lot during that particular, the upcoming holidays. So you might want something a little bit stronger then. All right, so the tea that we're talking about today, these are the ingredients if you want to write them down before I actually go into each ingredient and its benefits. So the ingredients are rooibos tea, and that's spelled Rooibus. I believe that's how it's spelled. R, then 2 O's, Ibus. Then the other ingredients are orange peel, skullcap, calendula, fennel seeds, milk thistle, oat straw, eleuthero, and another name for that is Siberian ginseng. So if you see eleuthero or Siberian ginseng, it's the same thing. Lemongrass, if you're from the Caribbean, it's called fever grass. It's the same thing. And marshmallow. Now, the marshmallow that I'm talking about is the plant, not the white fluffy stuff that you buy in a plastic bag. Okay. Although initially the white fluffy stuff used to be made from the marshmallow plant, but it no longer is. So the marshmallow that you buy today is just a bunch of sugar. But what we're going to be working with, what I'm going to be talking about today, is the marshmallow plant. All right, so those are the ingredients, and this is going to be recorded, or it is being recorded, so you're going to be able to go back and watch the replay, so you can get another chance at writing down all of the ingredients, as well as listening to the benefits as well. All right, so I've made myself a lot of notes, so hopefully you brought a pen and a notebook so you can take some notes yourself. But like I said, if I tend to go a little bit fast, then this will be here. The replay will be here, so you can go ahead and watch the replay as well. Let me go ahead and show you the tea. I'm hoping that you can actually see this. Let me see if I can get. All right, I think I might be able to get a shot of it. All right, so there, without making a mess here. So this is the tea. All of the different herbs that I just mentioned are all in there, and it's actually really pretty. And let me see if you can see from the side. Might be a little bit difficult to see it this way. But when it's all put together, and I love to use the whole herbs. You can certainly buy the powders and do it as a powder. It's entirely up to you. I like to use the whole plants. And when it is steeped, let me show you what it looks like. Just going to reach down and grab the teapot. So this is the color once it's all steeped. And it's a really like a deep burnt orange color. It's probably coming across as brown, but it's like a deep burnt orange color, and it's really, really pretty, and it smells amazing. Let me set that back down. Oh gosh, there's a hint of orange. You can certainly smell fennel. It just smells so good. So when you make it, I'd love to know if you make it. If you made the one from last week, pop a comment in the chat and let me know, please. I'd love to know if you actually make these. And I'm going to give you all the benefits so you can decide for yourself, do I want that particular herb in there, or should I just leave that one out, okay? Because I'm going to give you all of the benefits of these particular herbs, as well as some potential side effects depending on if you're using certain medications. So I'm going to give you all of that, and you can decide if you want to make it yourself and leave out certain things, or if you want to make it as it is. I'm not going to give you the specifics. The order that I've given them to you, that's the order that I have them in. So at the top is the most of a particular herb, and then it gets less as it goes down. You might decide that you want more fennel in there, or you want more orange peel. So that particular herb might be more for you on the list of ingredients. Now, if you want me to make this and actually put in the shop so you can purchase, please let me know because I can do that as well. I just like to encourage people to try to make things for themselves. And there's a reputable site called Mountain Rose Herbs where you can purchase these herbs yourself. Okay. And I mentioned that one last week as well. And I'm not an affiliate of this particular company, so I'm not getting any kind of compensation by mentioning them. This is just a company I know that is reputable. One of the places that I also like to get herbs from is Mrs. Mangoes, and you've probably heard me mention Mrs. Mangoes before because that is the herbal store that I went to on the morning that I ended up collapsing, and I credit that place with saving my life because it was from there on out I started to study a lot about herbs, and I still go to Mrs. Mangoes whenever I visit Brevard County here in Florida, and get a lot of different products made. So you can have me make it for you. You can order the items from Mountain Rose Herbs, or you can also order from Mrs. Mango and Company. You can decide. All right, so like I said, I have a lot of notes, and if you just grab a piece of paper and or a few pages and a pen, and then you can start to write down the benefits as well. If you have any questions, just simply pop them in the comments. They pop up here for me to see. At least that they did last week, so hopefully it works the same this week as well. All right, so I'm going to start off with. Let me grab the rooibos tea benefits. And guess what? I think that's the one that I actually left in the room. All right. We're going to start off with the orange peel benefits. A lot of you, when you peel an orange, you probably take the peel and just throw it away, right? Most people do that. Who am I? Oh, I had to read your name there for a second and I realized what it said. Hi, it's good to see you here. If you have any questions, just go ahead and pop them in the chat, okay? All right, so orange peel. A lot of people, whenever you peel an orange, you tend to just take it and throw it in the garbage, not realizing that it's got tons of benefits, loads of benefits. Fiber, it's filled with fiber. Vitamin C, which most of us are aware of because if you drink orange juice, you drink it because of the vitamin C content, right? It also has a lot of folic acid. It's got vitamin B6, calcium, and lots of polyphenols, which help to protect against disease. Hence, one of the reasons why we drink orange juice. A lot of people don't realize that it is also anti-inflammatory and it boosts immunity because of the high vitamin C content. Why did you shave your head? No, I actually shaved my head because I was doing some fundraising for childhood cancer research, and let me do a little story before that. Prior to that, I was actually losing a lot of hair because of the lupus diagnosis. But then I discovered herbs and essential oils that actually helped to regrow my hair. So at the time that I shaved my head, I had a head full of hair to the point where when I went to the barber on the day that I designated to shave my head, the barber actually looked at me and asked if I was serious about shaving my head because of all of the hair that I had. I think the braid that I cut off on that day, just the braid alone, was about 12 inches in length. And then, of course, I shaved everything off. But I initially was losing my hair. Then I regrew everything after discovering different oils that would work to regrow hair. So on the day that I shaved, I had a full head of hair and a really long ponytail. So that is why I shaved my head. It was for childhood cancer research. And I think I ended up raising, my youngest son also did it with me. We raised, I think, about $2,500 that was donated to a certain organization for childhood cancer research. So and I loved it so much. That was 3 years ago. I loved it, the look so much that I keep shaving it. So it's not because I'm ill or anything. It's because I just absolutely love the look. But it definitely shocked the barber that shaved all my hair off. He really didn't think I was going to do it. So that's the story behind my shaved head. All right. Thank you for asking though. A lot of people are shocked whenever they see me with no hair. But if you look at my Facebook my Facebook profile, and as well, there are some images on my lupus page as well that shows me with a lot of hair. But so they're usually shocked. Do you think the money really goes to the cancer? Yes, I did do a lot of research into this particular organization, so I was confident that the money was going to do whatever they claimed it was going to do. Yes, I was very confident in that. All right, so back to orange peel. How would you work with orange peel in addition to having it in your tea? You could add it to your smoothies. You don't necessarily have to dry the orange peel to put it into your smoothies. If you decide that morning that you peeled your orange and you just happen to be making a smoothie, just throw it in there. Or you can take the orange peel and you can save it just throw it into a paper bag and seal the bag. And maybe once a day, you'd shake that bag up, and what it does is just gradually absorbs the moisture from the orange peel, and you can save your orange peels that way. And you can add dried orange peel into your smoothies or use it to make tea, whatever. Okay. You can also use your orange peel to make marmalade. I'm sure you're familiar with marmalade. And this one you're probably not aware of. Dried orange peel is great to start a fire. If you're barbecuing, if you're out camping, simply light a piece of orange peel and it starts almost immediately because of the oils that are in there. And you can use that to help to start your campfire, or you can, toss it in with whatever fish that you're cooking, because it also goes really good with fish. A really natural air freshener that I love to do is taking orange peel with some cinnamon and as well as clove and boiling it on the stove, and your house just smells amazing. Plus, it has all of the anti-inflammatory benefits in there. So many benefits to using natural air fresheners, right? And that's an easy one to do. Just save your orange peel, add some cinnamon, throw in some clove, and just let it simmer on the stovetop, and your house just smells so good. Okay. It's also really good to add to your body scrubs. If you take the orange peel, you dry it, and then you just blend it up into a powder, and you add it into your body scrubs. It's really, really good that way. And like I said, you can also add it to any fish that you're cooking. Same thing with the lemon. You've seen people slice up lemons and lemon slices and put onto salmon when they're cooking salmon, right? And if you don't like cats, and cats just seem to come around your place, it's really good to repel cats. Good cat repellent. Orange peel also lowers your blood pressure, or the oils within the orange peel tends to lower your blood pressure. It may also help to lower cholesterol due to the presence of a flavonoid that's called hesperidin. So you can do a little bit more research on that. It's spelled Hesperidin, hesperidin. And that is supposed to help or be responsible for managing cholesterol within your body. Okay. Hi, Rosanna. It's good to see you. Right, so, the orange peel is also helpful when it comes to your digestive system because, like I said, it's loaded with fiber. So you can simply just, blend up your dried orange peel. You can put it into your smoothies, drink it that way, and that's really good for your digestive system with all of the fiber that's in there. The fiber as well as what's called non-soluble polysaccharides. So both of those are really good for the digestive system. Orange peel also acts as a natural antihistamine because it helps to block the histamine from being produced. And it also helps with respiratory health through what's called beta cryptoxanthin. I'm going to spell that for you if you want to go and do a little bit more research on it. So it's beta, B-E-T-A, crypto, C-R-Y-P-T-O, and then xanthin is X-A-N-T-H-I-N. It's beta is one word and cryptoxanthin is another word. So you can go ahead and do a little bit more research on that, because this will be like a whole other video just discussing that. Now, the beta cryptoxanthin is also found in papaya, it's found in peaches, it's found in tangerines and persimmons. And you get the idea, these are all either orange or yellow fruits, right? So that's where you would find this particular beta cryptoxanthin. And it's a common, what they call a carotenoid, which is found in these particular fruits, but it's also found in human blood as well as human tissue, which is why you want to be saving your orange peel and using it, because it is actually providing something which is found naturally in your body. Okay, it's a powerful antioxidant, which we know, and it helps with cell-to-cell communication. It's also the precursor to vitamin A, which is needed for eyesight. It's needed for growth as well as immune response. All right. If you have any questions about all of this stuff, I'm going rather quickly because, like I said, there's quite a bit of ingredients in the in this blend. So I want to make sure that I give you as much information as I can. Now, one of the things I did not mention, and I'm going to mention it here, I am not a medical doctor. I'm a master herbalist. So I'm giving you information based on that knowledge. This is for information only. If you have an underlying condition, do not start any herbal therapy without consulting with your doctor first. Because just because it's a natural remedy does not mean that it will not interfere with any pharmaceuticals that you might be taking. Herbal medicines can have an effect on your pharmaceuticals. So please make sure you let your doctor know what it is that you want to try, because that can affect how much of a particular pharmaceutical you're given, or whether it interacts with it completely and just stops it from working. So please make sure that you do consult your doctor before you start any natural remedy, any kind of herbal therapy. Or if you do have a nutritionist, or you're working with an herbalist, make sure that your herbalist, your nutritionist, and your doctors are all talking to each other so that they know exactly what's going on. Because the last thing you want to do is to have some kind of reaction. Orange peel. Okay. So you can order, like I said, you can order these online. You can order them dried. I get them all dried, or I just save my orange peel whenever I peel oranges or even tangerines, those sort of things, right? All right, so I've mentioned all of that before. Now, the next herb that we're going to talk about is called Skulkia. And the name itself kind of gives you an idea of the part of the body that this is going to help with, right? So Skulkia means that it's going to help somewhere up here. Skullcap has been used for over 200 years as a mild relaxant. Now, before I go on, there are actually two kinds of skullcaps. There's the American skullcap, and then there's a Chinese skullcap. The one I'm going to be talking about today is the American skullcap. And I'm going to explain why, a little bit later on, why I would hesitate to use the Chinese skullcap, even though it's it's variation of the same plant. There's a reason why I would hesitate to use the Chinese. So the one I'm going to be talking about is the American skullcap, right? So like I said, it's been used for over 200 years as a mild relaxant as well as a therapy for anxiety. And you're going to notice after a while that this particular blend is going to be great for anxiety, and it's also going to be great for detoxing the liver as well as the lungs, and just basically making you feel good overall. But this is not a powerful blend. It's a very, very gentle detox tea, right? It's also Skullcap is also really good for nervous tension and has been shown to maybe help with convulsions as well. It's got loads of antioxidants and may help with things like I mentioned, things related to the brain, such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, anxiety, depression, those type of things. Now, I'm not giving these as cures, so I don't want anyone to jump out and say, you're not supposed to be saying that. A lot of these are based on research, so don't take my word for it. I always encourage you to do your research. And even though you might love what I say here about any of these herbs, please do your research on the outside so that you will know and you go into any kind of herbal therapy with lots of knowledge, okay, and as well as consulting with your physician before. This is an herb that is not recommended for children, so please do not give this to kids because it is a rather powerful one, so it's not recommended for kids. Adults, however, they can drink it in a tea form. You can drink it in a tincture form. You can also take capsules. I love teas. It might be the British in me, but I just love drinking teas. That's why I just make a lot of tea blends. But you can find it in other forms as well, or you can take it in different forms. So like I mentioned before, it's really good for anxiety. If you have sleeping trouble or ADHD issues, it's really good for that. It might also help with high cholesterol. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory. And it is one of the herbs that's really good for liver detox. It also helps to protect your kidneys. But there's not enough research that's been done. So if you're pregnant or if you're nursing, you do not want to be taking this because there's not a lot of research that's been done as far as pregnant women and nursing women. So just don't take it. There's that's what I've been taught is, this is not one that's recommended for nursing or pregnant women because they've just done enough research to figure out whether it's going to affect affect a pregnant woman or cause any issues with the milk to the child that's nursing. So just stay away from it if you are going to be nursing or if you're pregnant. A lot of good medicine will grow as weeds in your yard for free. Exactly, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them in the next tea that I discuss next week. And I think there's actually a few of them in this particular blend that do grow as weeds. And one of them I mentioned was milk thistle, which grows as weeds in a lot of places. And maybe fever grass or lemongrass because it just seeds everywhere. I had a lot of it in my yard, and when it went into seed, it would just blow the seeds everywhere, and I would see fever grass plants coming up all over the yard. So yes, a lot of good medicinal weeds. Well, I call them medicinal weeds. They do grow, and if you don't know what you're looking for or what you're looking at, then you would most likely just mow right over it. Because I did have a neighbor who sprayed Roundup on my cerasee that was growing along the fence, not realizing that it is a medicinal weed. So I had to speak to her afterwards and explain, this is not it. It looks ugly because it's pretty much covering the fence, but it's good for you, right? Now, back to Skulkia. If you're having surgery, you do not want to be taking, if you're taking Skulkia and you're having surgery, you want to stop taking Skulkia about 2 weeks prior to your surgery. The reason being that the skull cap can interfere with if you're going under general anesthetic, it will actually affect how the anesthetic works. So you may not necessarily go under completely, and you might be able to feel everything that's happening. And it could also affect the medication. And if you receive any kind of medication during the surgery itself, the skull cap could affect how well the medication works. So avoid using the skull cap about 2 weeks, or stop using it about 2 weeks prior to having your surgery. Right? If you know people who may be trying to stop drinking, they're trying to stop drinking, Having some skullcap tea could also help with any kind of withdrawal symptoms that they might experience. Even with different types of drugs that they might be trying to come off, the skullcap tea may also help with that, because it, based on research that's been done, it's been shown to help with withdrawal symptoms. And there's not a lot of research that's been done as far as interactions with different drugs, but so far they haven't really found any medication that the skullcap interferes with. But still, always make sure that you tell your doctor what you're planning on doing. If you want to try skullcap, let them know, even though there's been no documented evidence of it interacting. But whatever medication that you might be doing, please make sure that you let your doctor know. I'm just reading a couple of the comments. Okay, so here's the reason why I hesitate with the Chinese skullcap, because the Chinese skullcap has been associated with liver complaints. Now, I have to clarify this a little bit, because I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, I can't use Chinese skullcap. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a lot of the times in traditional Chinese medicine, there's a blend of herbs that are created, much like what I have in the tea blend, right? So in traditional Chinese medicine, you'll never just be given one particular herb. It's usually a combination of herbs. So people who've taken skullcap mixed with other things have sometimes suffered from some liver complaints. So they're not quite sure whether the Chinese skullcap is the actual herb that caused the problem. But based on research that I've done, I would still go ahead and I would hesitate to use the Chinese skullcap. Okay. So if you're going to be making this particular tea blend and you say, well, I'm not comfortable with skullcap, period, you just feel free to leave the skullcap out of that particular blend, out of this particular blend. All right. So possible. I know the side effects of going off of any kind of drug or alcohol. Some of the side effects tend to be like twitching, muscle pain, the shakes, right, and sleeplessness. So, and cravings. I've seen people who are coming off of like cocaine, and they're having a withdrawal from cocaine, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So skullcap helps to actually ease those types of symptoms, which is why it's recommended. All right, so let's go on to calendula. And I did bring, because I use calendula a lot, so I did bring some of the actual dried. Calendula is a flower. Let me see if I can get it into the camera. Calendula is a yellow flower, and I use it it's actually the base for the oil that I use on my skin. And this is an infused oil. Let me see if I can get it right here. This is calendula infused in olive oil. So whenever I'm making my facial blend, this is what I actually use as the base, and then I add in different essential oils to that. All right, so let's talk about calendula. The official name for this particular one that we're using is Calendula officinalis. There's a lot of different calendulas, but the one that I have in the tea is Calendula officinalis. It's also called pot marigold. Now, there's a lot of different marigolds. If you garden, some of you I know will probably use get up a little bit higher. Some of you probably grow a type of marigold among your vegetables, because that particular one helps to keep bugs away. right? But the marigold that I'm talking about today is Calendula officinalis. It's a totally different one. All right. This particular calendula helps to treat muscle spasm, or has been used to treat muscle spasms, sore throat, reduce fever. It's a huge anti-inflammatory. Another use for this, let me grab it again. Another use for the oil that I make is I use it as a massage oil, because my youngest son has been diagnosed with the sickle cell trait, but he still has a lot of crises. So this is used as a massage whenever he's having any of those pains in his joints. I use this as a massage, and it just helps with that, with reducing the pain. So it's a great anti-inflammatory herb as well. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that, because there's so many different uses for these herbs that I'm mentioning, but the reason I have it in there is, in this particular blend, is as a detox. Okay, and you'll see none of the teas that I make are just thrown together. All of the herbs are chosen for a particular benefit, and they all work synergistically to create the result that I'm looking for. Right? All right, so I mentioned that calendula reduces fever. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It reduces swelling, which is why I use it on my son. It also helps if you have varicose veins. It could help with that. And I just noticed someone posted marigold for the eyes, and it does. If you have conjunctivitis or pink eye, marigold could help with that as well. Now, I mentioned before, it's not the same as the marigold that we grow for, in the garden to keep bugs away. This is the Calendula officinalis. It's also a great herb that you can use if you have radiation therapy. It's great for that as well. And it can also help to speed up wound healing. So if you have a cut or like an open wound, maybe from like a diabetic, I know a lot of people with diabetes tend to have, sometimes if it's untreated, the wound can get really bad. The calendula is an herb that has frequently been used for wound healing. And I mentioned that I use it in my facial oil blend as well. Now, if you are allergic to any plants that are in what the name of this particular family is, the Asteraceae. I'll spell it ASTER. If you look up any plants and it's considered to be an aster, or another family is the Compositae family. If you're allergic to any plants in those particular families, then you cannot use calendula, because calendula is from that particular plant family. So make sure that you double check so that you don't have any kind of allergic reaction. Okay. Also, do not use if you're pregnant or if you are breastfeeding, because there's not enough research that's been done for those two categories. All right. The other ingredient that I mentioned, ruby, I was told instead of using olive oil, it will last longer if you use grapeseed oil or avocado oil. Yes, some of the products that I do create have grapeseed oil in them, and some have avocado oil. Some also have coconut oil. It all depends on what I'm creating. For my particular skin, this doesn't stay around long enough for it to go bad, because I think I used this up in about maybe 2 months, because I use the oil on my skin is used every single day, and there's enough in here for maybe 2 to 3 months. So it doesn't stay around long enough for it to actually go bad. Whenever you're making any kind of infused oils, you want to make sure that you do not have any kind of water in here. Water will also let it go rancid rather quickly. So you have to be, I use the dried herb, and instead of the fresh, because the fresh has a lot of moisture. Always use dried herbs whenever you're doing any kind of infusion like this. Like when you're doing Quincy, That's my firstborn stopping by to say I love you. Love you, son. Such a strong, beautiful, ambitious, and oh wow, and focused woman. Keep going. I love you. And all. I have to post that one. That's my firstborn. All right, so let's go on to the next ingredient is fennel seeds, and I'm sure you're familiar with fennel seeds. If you've ever had a child that was really colicky, had a lot of stomach pains, you probably used, if you were from the Caribbean, you probably used something called gripe water. Gripe water has fennel seeds in it. When you smell it, that kind of a sweetish scent to it, that's the fennel seed, and that is what actually helps to relieve the gassiness and the pain from whenever babies are really really colicky. Right, so there's a lot of health benefits to using fennel seeds. It is good for the heart, has been shown to be good for the heart. It has been shown to possibly reduce inflammation. And a lot of people work with fennel to help to suppress their appetite. If they're on a diet, they chew on some fennel seeds, and that is supposed to help to suppress the appetite as well, right? And I'm going to give you some scientifically based benefits of this, and you can go and you can do the research yourself. Like I said, research any of these herbs that I'm mentioning. Do not take my word for it. I love to see when people go and actually do the research and learn about these things. It's, it took me years to actually get certified as a master herbalist, but I always encourage people who are viewing to go ahead and make sure that you do the research yourself as well. You're probably only seeing half the face, but that's okay. Let me just raise up a little bit. All right, so you can put raw fennel seeds into your salad. That's one way of incorporating fennel seeds into your diet. Fennel seeds have what's called an estrogen-like component that helps to boost the milk production. So if you're nursing, this is one of the herbs that's actually really good for you to use. Just by having some fennel seeds, it helps to boost the amount of milk that you produce for your baby as you're nursing. All right, and like I mentioned, it's also really good for the babies that are colicky. Fennel seeds also have been shown to help to reduce the mucus that's in your lungs. Now, I'm going to give you a backstory to this. I'm not touting this as a cure for anything, but maybe 15 years ago, I was diagnosed. I think it's at least 15 years ago. I was diagnosed with a mild case of emphysema, which my doctors were baffled by because they couldn't understand why I had it in the first place, until it was discovered that during one of my near-death experiences, wow, that's almost 24 years ago now, I was tubed, and in that whole process, it caused some damage to my right lung. So my right lung has about 75% function. My left lung is perfect. But during that time, I did a lot of research into different herbs that would actually help to improve my lung function, or for me to be able to use fully what was left. That's a better way of putting it. So the fennel seeds are in here for that reason. But every single morning, I go through a routine where I basically expel excess mucus from my body, and I will talk about that in another video. It includes tapping and a lot of like really heavy breathing and oil pulling, but it's something I have to go through every single morning in order to expel the excess mucus that's in my, most of us have it up here as well, but I have a lot of it in my lungs. So no one watching this probably believes me, because a lot of people don't really believe that I have, or that I was diagnosed with this particular condition. But this is one of the ways that I work to get rid of all of the excess mucus. It is said that we create, I think, about 2 liters of mucus a day. And most of that just kind of runs down, the back of your throat, goes into your stomach, and is expelled, right? But just imagine, that's the size of a 2-liter bottle. I do believe it's 2 liters. That's a lot of mucus. So if you do have that issue where you just, you're constantly feeling mucus draining, then you might want to incorporate a little bit of fennel into your diet if you don't already do so. So it does loosen the mucus in the lungs. It's also a natural cough suppressant. So if you're having a cough and there's none of that other stuff around, you might want to just chew on a couple fennel seeds to help to suppress that cough. You can also make a gargle, and I guess you just boil. I would just boil a few fennel seeds in some water and just gargle that, and that's not only helps to freshen your breath, but it also helps with any sore throat issues that you might be having. All right. So a combination of fennel extract and vitamin E has been shown to help to relieve menstrual cramps. So females, if you're having any kind of cramping that time of the month, it is said that using a fennel extract and the vitamin E and just massaging, and that will help to relieve the cramping. I feel like I'm drowning in my thick mucus. It's really difficult. I understand, Ruby. I was there several years ago because I would wake up and just couldn't breathe. But I would just recommend trying a couple fennel seeds or fennel. There's so many different ways to work with fennel. You can just make a regular fennel tea. You can chew on the fennel. Lots of different ways. Okay. So I'm hoping that some of the information I give you today will help, not just by drinking this lovely tea with the detox, but you can also work with these herbs individually, right? Traditionally, fennel has been used for bites, even for bites from poisonous snakes. Now, I'm not going to recommend that if you get bitten by a poisonous snake to use some fennel, because chances are you might not have any fennel readily available in your pocket. So just take that particular one with a grain of salt, and always be careful if you're out, running around, especially in places where we're known to have poisonous snakes, right? Just be careful there. All right, it's the Fennel Essential Oil. I just love the smell of Fennel Essential Oil. It's absolutely amazing. That's been used in perfuming. So the next time you go to put on some perfume, take a sniff of it and see if maybe you can detect some fennel. I make a lot of natural perfumes using essential oils, but I have not put fennel into any of mine yet. I do use vanilla. I love vanilla in my perfumes. But the essential oil, Fennel Essential Oil, has been used in perfuming, and it's even been used to improve the taste of certain pharmaceuticals. So sometimes if you've taken pharmaceuticals and it has, you can probably detect fennel in some of them, especially if they taste really, really horrible. The fennel has sometimes been used to make them taste a little bit better. Okay. I think even in the liquid form, if it tastes horrible, they tend to add in a little bit of fennel into it to try to give it a more pleasant taste, right? Fennel has also been shown to boost liver health due to the high levels of selenium. And we know that selenium is a critical item for our body. So the fennel has been shown to boost liver health because of this selenium. So you can simply chew some fennel seeds, or you can drink the fennel tea like I mentioned earlier. It also helps to maintain the levels of potassium in your body by chewing some fennel seeds, all right? It does help to regulate blood pressure. Simply have to chew on some fennel seeds. It does stimulate the production of nitrite, which plays an important role in stabilizing your blood pressure. So you can see that there's so many different ways and so many different benefits of fennel, and this is probably one that everybody has in their kitchen somewhere and doesn't really use a whole lot, right? I tend to buy fennel. I have many bags of fennel seeds because I use it quite a bit. Fennel has also been shown to reduce water retention. So if if retaining water is a concern of yours, then just chewing on some fennel seeds, it is a diuretic, so that does help to reduce the water retention. If you have any issues like IBS, it's been scientifically shown that fennel does help to alleviate those symptoms. So it does help with IBS and constipation, bloating, indigestion. I mentioned earlier that it's placed in gripe water for colicky babies. It's the same idea, right? Let me see if I'm checking the chat to see if they have an ingredient called BHT in a lot of cereal. Beware. Yes, always check the ingredients in whatever foods you're eating. Always check the ingredients. Become your own advocate when it comes to food. I've always said that. You know, on Tuesdays, I'm sharing with you a lot of teas, but food, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing that you'll ever put into your mouth. It can either be a slow source of poison, or it can be the healthiest thing. The choice, and it's the one thing that you actually can control, what goes into your mouth, because what goes into your mouth, into your digestive system, it becomes you, right? There's a saying that food, you are what you eat. Whatever goes into your body actually helps to create all of your cells, which creates it creates you. So that is the one thing that you do have control over, is what goes into your mouth, right? Now, the fennel has also been used to. Now, the question here is, does it help with GERD? I am not sure. The research that's been done has been done on IBS and bloating and indigestion, and but I'm not too certain about GERD. I can do a little bit more research into that and see, but I don't see why not. You can also just look up fennel and just type in fennel and GERD as a search and see what comes up. Okay, but I'll also do a little bit more research to see. And before I start next week's, if you're on, I'll go ahead and I can address that for you. Or I can just simply do the research and I can answer it, because I see that you are watching from YouTube. So I can go ahead and just answer it in the comment section below the video. Okay. So just let me know if that's okay with you there. All right. Fennel has also been used to treat acne. And the way that it does it is because it boosts it boosts zinc and calcium and selenium that I mentioned earlier. It boosts all of that in your body. The fennel also helps to improve any kind of hormonal imbalance that you might have in your body, and it also helps to improve the oxygen intake and oxygen usage throughout your body. So that is fennel, and that was a lot. But most of you probably have fennel in your kitchen or have no idea how to work with it. Now you have a few ideas. All right, so this one, a lot of people have probably heard about this, but don't realize just how powerful of an herb this is. Milk thistle. This grows as a weed, and a lot of people probably have this growing in their yard and have no idea. So milk thistle is by far my favorite herb for the liver, and I have it in capsule form, and I also have it in my teas, a couple of the teas that I make. Now, the reason why I started working with milk thistle is because years ago, when I was first diagnosed, one of the organs that was being damaged was my liver. I was getting all of these really high markers for liver damage, and we couldn't have, after testing it, realized that there was a spot on my liver that didn't look too great. So I started doing some research because I didn't want to take any pharmaceuticals. So I started to do some research, and milk thistle was the one that just kept popping up. And then I went to my herbalist, and she said, well, this is the one that you should be using. And she said milk thistle. I thought, oh, okay. So milk thistle is by far the most popular herb that has been, researched in being beneficial for the liver. It does help to cleanse your liver of toxins. It breaks down excess fat in your liver, and by doing that, it also helps to reduce the cholesterol. You ever heard of a fatty liver? That's where the term comes from, is because your body, your liver tends to, it is kind of your toxin processing plant, so to speak. So a lot of junk passes through your liver, and if you don't nourish your liver, if you don't take care of your liver, it's going to have problems. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your liver, and milk thistle is one of the best herbs that that you can work with for that. So a fatty liver, if you do have concerns with that, you might want to mention to your doctor, could I possibly try this? If you're on a pharmaceutical, make sure you check with your doctor, because like I said, some of these herbs can interfere with the way that the pharmaceuticals work as well. So the milk thistle also helps to improve blood circulation. It helps with energy levels, and I believe that the reason it does this is because it tends to clean out your liver. So by cleaning out your liver, it does give you a boost of energy, because if your liver is not working right, you're going to feel kind of sluggish, right? Because your liver is like processing all of these toxins and junk that's going into and your liver is basically working. So all of the energy. So once your liver is on, and that's how I that it also protects your liver from further damage. And these benefits, so you can do a little bit of the research for. Can you all hear me? It looked like I suddenly got muted. All right. Put a comment in the chat to let me know that you guys can hear me, because I think I'm back. All right. Okay, we're talking about milk thistle. Okay, another benefit of milk thistle is that it's been shown to reduce insulin resistance as well as boost your immune system. So with when you use the milk thistle and it starts to clean out your liver, obviously it's going to improve your immune response as well. All right. I just want to make sure that I'm actually on. Does it look like I'm muted? All right, this next one is Oat Straw. It's all better. Oh, lost the connection to the Wi-Fi, and I ended up getting muted. All right, so much better. So I'm hoping that on the replay that it's there. If not, I can just go in and Sharon, hi. Have not seen you in ages. How are you? All right, so oat straw is the next herb that we're going to be talking about. This has been shown to alleviate conditions that are related to anxiety, mood imbalance, as well as sleep. So if you think back to a few of the herbs that I've talked about already, anxiety was a few things that came up, right? So you notice that this is kind of an overall kind of a detox, and it's it's a very gentle detox tea, but it's going to be working with a lot of various areas to kind of get an overall balance, right? Still issues? It doesn't say that I'm muted though. All right, I'm going to continue. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so oat straw also calms and strengthens the nervous system. So if you're undergoing a lot of stress, working with oat straw could actually help with that. I'm going to go ahead and have a sip because I've been talking a bit. We've been doing great, Sharon. I haven't been on YouTube a lot, but with these lives that I've been doing, they've been streaming there, so that's been good. But it's good to see you. It really is good to see you. All right, so let me continue. Oat straw has been shown to also reduce depression, reduce stress, which I mentioned earlier. It also enhances clarity, clear thinking, helps to reduce inflammation, and that's one of the things I mentioned about several of the herbs that I mentioned before. A lot of them also help with inflammation. Oat straw is another herb that potentially could help with reducing cholesterol as well. And it also has been shown to reduce blood pressure. You can add in some, if you're just making the oat straw tea, the oat straw itself is kind of has an interesting taste. So to overcome that flavor, you can add in some peppermint leaves, or you can add in some licorice root for some added flavor there. There's been no drug interactions reported, so this is a fairly safe one for anyone to use. And the only thing is that if you have any kind of gluten sensitivity, you may not necessarily want to use oat straw. That's the only thing that's been shown was people who have gluten sensitivity were going to respond in a negative way to oat straw. All right. The next herb is Eleuthero or Siberian ginseng. Ginseng is native to China, Japan, as well as the Far East Russia. It does boost the immune system. It increases stamina, improves memory, and cognitive function. So, like I said, this particular blend kind of works your overall body, right? All meant to work synergistically together. It's shown to reduce inflammation, again, like a few of the other herbs that have been mentioned in this tea blend. It is antiviral and has been shown to treat herpes as well as common cold symptoms. It does improve symptoms of diabetes, or has been shown to improve symptoms of diabetes by reducing insulin resistance. And these are research. These are scientifically based results. So do your research. You'll find a lot of the studies that have been done where these are the results that came up. Okay. It has also been shown to help the liver process harmful toxins. So if you're going to be making this particular tea blend, you definitely want to have the eleuthero as well as milk thistle in your particular tea, because the two of them work together to help the liver in performing the job that it's supposed to do. Eleuthero or Siberian ginseng has also been shown to reduce blood pressure. As a stimulant, it increases circulation and may also help with low blood pressure over time, because if you have low blood pressure, with eleuthero or Siberian ginseng being a stimulant, it can also help to raise your blood pressure just a little bit. Now, if you have high blood pressure, you don't want to be using Siberian ginseng, because then it could elevate your blood pressure a little bit too high. Okay. It's also been shown to reduce osteoporosis. And a lot of athletes tend to like using Siberian ginseng when they're training as well as when they're performing. It's just a natural enhancer, and it's not any of those other artificial drugs that can be, when you go to the Olympics or something, they test you for all of these drugs. Siberian ginseng is a natural physical enhancer, so it's used a lot by athletes. It's also been shown to help to prevent as well as repair nerve damage. And it also is supposed to help with nerve regeneration. Another story. Years ago, I was also diagnosed with, the particular one was global sensorimotor polyneuropathy, which basically meant that my nervous system was shot. And it was as a result of that why I ended up getting tested for lupus in the first place. So there was a point where I was barely able to walk, because every step was like walking on pins and needles. And like I said, this particular tea blend was one that I started playing around with many years ago, and gotten to a point now where it's something that I use on a regular basis. And I'm not saying again that it's a cure for anything, because I'm not. I'm just saying that, it's been shown that it can help to repair any kind of nerve damage that you might have. So if you've been diagnosed with lupus, chances are that you were probably diagnosed with some form of neuropathy as well. Or if you were just diagnosed with neuropathy, you may want to, just try a little bit of eleuthero or Siberian ginseng and see how that helps. Now, like I said, it's not touting this as a cure for anything, but it's been scientifically shown to actually help with nerve regeneration. It's also been shown to reduce physical as well as mental fatigue. So this is an herb. I don't drink this all year long. I started to drink it about maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and I will probably drink it for about a week, and then I will put it aside. And I won't have anything until maybe around Thanksgiving, all the way up to Christmas, when we tend to eat a lot. And then I'll pull out my powerhouse one, which I'm going to talk about in another video. So it's not a particular tea that I'm drinking all of the time, but whenever I do drink it, I do feel the difference, because it does tend to, clear my head, clear the rest of the body. Because when certain parts of your body don't feel well, it does affect up here, because you tend to you put your focus on the part that's not feeling right? Your body is not disjointed. Everything is meant to work together. The head, the arms, the feet, they're all meant to work together. So when one part isn't feeling quite right, it does affect everywhere else, right? So you can see by the ingredients in this tea that it's basically an overall, I'm looking at overall health. This this particular ingredient also, the eleuthero and the Siberian ginseng also help with lymphatic drainage. So if you're not aware, the lymphatic system is the only system in your body that does not have a pump. Your circulatory system has the heart. It pumps all of the blood throughout your body, right? Your lungs inflate to bring the air in and release air, right? But your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, and your lymphatic system is basically your garbage disposal. So if your lymphatic system is not working properly, you're going to have a backup, and when you have backup, you end up with things like lymphedema and all kinds of issues related to your lymphatic system. Well, this particular herb has been shown to actually help with the lymphatic system. Now, there are other things that I do to help my lymphatic system, such as dry brushing, or doing what I call an Abhyanga massage, and I do that every single day, and that way it kind of helps to get the lymph moving throughout your system, and getting it to the places where, or what I call the little garbage dumps. You have little garbage dumps in your lymphatic system all over. So by moving the lymph to those areas, and it helps your body to get rid of it. You can incorporate the Siberian ginseng into your routine to help with that as well. Because another way of helping your lymphatic system is movement. It's just getting on a trampoline helps you, that jumping up and down movement, that helps. And I don't know if you remember, there's a commercial that would come out, I think the 1940s, 50s, and you see these women on these giant like rubber bands, and they would be just, this machine was just shaking them up. That's basically all it was doing, was just helping with the lymphatic system. We laughed because we thought, oh, that's not really doing anything. But it is. It's actually helping their immune system. Running, walking, any kind of movement, belly dancing, whatever movement you want to do it. That's going to help your lymphatic system to actually work properly. Your body is not meant to stay stationary. It's designed to move. So you have to move it to help your lymphatic system and help your overall health. Okay. You see. All right, in a 2016 study, eleuthero powder was found to significantly reduce edema or swelling within 2 to 4 hours after consuming it. And they tested 50 people, 50 healthy volunteers, and it was shown to reduce edema. It boosts the immune system because it's helping your lymphatic system to get rid of junk, so it's going to elevate your immune system as well. It's also been shown to prevent ulcer formation, to reduce any kind of respiratory tract infection, like pneumonia, as well as the flu. Moving on to another one. You guys still here? Pop a comment in the chat. Let me know that you're still here. I know this is a lot, and I was actually a little bit prepared for this one to go a little bit longer, but all right. So this next herb is lemongrass. Lemongrass, I've grown up calling it fever grass, and we call it fever grass because we use it for fever. If I got a fever, we went outside, we picked some fever grass, boiled it, and you drank it, fever went away. But most places you see it written as lemongrass. And in addition to helping with reducing fever, it is also really good for reducing cholesterol. And the essential oil is the lemongrass essential oil is actually in my nerve and joint pain blend that I created years ago when I was first diagnosed with nerve damage. So that is one of the oils that has been scientifically shown to help with nerve and joint pain. The lemongrass is also really good for people, if you're vomiting, it's really good to kind of ease that feeling. It helps with relieving swelling, as well as the achy joints that I mentioned. It's also really good for headaches. It's also been shown to improve blood sugar levels and is great for upset stomach and any other kind of digestive problem. So you notice a few of the other ones that I mentioned also were good for the digestive system. So this is a very synergistically a synergistic blend, okay? And it's also been shown to help to regulate your cholesterol, the lemongrass. The last one is marshmallow. And the marshmallow root is what's in this particular tea blend, right? It's not marshmallow as in the white fluffy stuff that I mentioned earlier. That's not what we're talking about here. And initially or traditionally, the marshmallow root was what was used to create marshmallows, the white fluffy stuff. But it no longer is. What you find in the grocery stores that's being touted as marshmallow is nothing but sugar, a bunch of sugar. But the marshmallow that I'm referring to is the plant, the herb. It's been shown to relieve coughs. It's been shown to improve dry mouth. So if you have an issue with not producing enough saliva, which is not a good thing, because if you don't have enough saliva in your mouth, then you could end up with a lot of cavities. You do have another biome in your mouth. You have a particular biome in your stomach, but a lot of people don't realize that there's a special biome within your mouth as well. And when that is imbalanced, you end up with, all kinds of damage to your teeth. So if you're not producing enough saliva, that is not really good. And the marshmallow root has actually been shown to improve dry mouth, to help you, produce enough saliva to protect your teeth. I'm using the marshmallow root, but you can also use the flowers as well as the leaves whenever you're making, those are all edible. The medicinal properties of the root actually come from the mucilage, and this might kind of contradict something that I mentioned earlier, because one of the herbs that I used was actually helps to reduce the amount of mucus, but the marshmallow has a substance, so it's called the mucilage. It's like a sap that's produced by the marshmallow plant, and that actually helps to kind of coat your how do you put it? Coat the lining of your it coats the lining of your blood vessels. It coats the lining of the throat, the lining of the lungs. It doesn't make it to where I can't breathe. It's not like excessive mucus, but there's a special. How do I put this? It's just a special lining, and it's a protective lining that is created by the mucilage in the from the marshmallow. The excess mucus that's created, that's typically what causes me to not be able to, or people will be diagnosed with emphysema. Is the excess mucus that prevents you from being able to breathe properly. The mucilage that's created by the marshmallow plant actually helps as a protective barrier in your, the lining of your blood, your bloodstream, your lungs, and the esophagus, all of those things. Hopefully that made sense. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, originally this is the plant that was used to make marshmallows. Nowadays it's not. The marshmallow root has also been shown to protect against ulcers because, again, of that mucilage that it creates. It creates that protective lining inside of your stomach, so it kind of helps to prevent ulcers from starting. Okay. And it also helps to soothe skin irritation. So if you have like a rash, you can chew up a little bit of the marshmallow root, and you'll see that kind of a really sticky sap, and you take that and you just apply it onto the rash, and it helps to soothe that irritation. And it's been shown to also help with speeding up wound healing again. And the last one I want to mention is that it protects the throat from gastric reflux. So if you have that particular concern, by having that, again, that protective lining, then whenever the excess acid is coming up, it doesn't burn that lining, because you have that mucilage that's coating it and protecting. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense right there. All right, so the last one I want to mention is the rooibos tea. And this is spelled Rooibus. And it's a red bush tea. And it's made from leaves from a shrub that's called, I'm going to say it, then I'm going to spell it, Aspalathus, and it's Linearisy, I believe. All right, so that's the shrub. It's a very short shrub. It's not your typical black or green tea. This is actually a red tea, and it smells amazing. It smells so good. And it's grown on the western coast of South Africa. So it's an herbal tea, but it's not related to the black tea or green tea. And it's created by fermenting the leaves, which turns them a reddish brown color. So the rooibos tea is actually a fermentation, all right? But it just tastes so good. Even if you just drank the rooibos tea by itself with nothing added, it just tastes so good, so good. It is caffeine free, so if you're concerned about caffeine, the rooibos tea has no caffeine in it at all. It is packed with antioxidants, which we know is good for us. It helps to boost heart health. And here's a way to remember that is the rooibos tea is red, and the color red is usually associated with the heart, with blood. So that's the way that I kind of remember that it does help with heart health. And it also helps with your blood pressure, and it's just got a host of other benefits. So putting all of that together, all of those herbs that I just mentioned are all in here just to create a powerhouse of a tea. But it's a very gentle detox tea, like I mentioned, very, very gentle. This is one that you can use if you wanted to every day. I wouldn't recommend that you drink it every single day. Like I said, I would be drinking it for maybe a week, and then I'll put it aside and I'll drink something else. So you let me make sure, I'm just checking on all of the comments. So based on everything that I've mentioned, you can decide which of these particular herbs you want in your tea blend. I'm going to go through the list again. It's rooibos tea, orange peel, skullcap, calendula, fennel, milk thistle, oat straw, eleuthero or Siberian ginseng, it's the same thing, lemongrass or fever grass, same thing, and marshmallow root. Those are the ingredients. If you have any questions at all relating to any of them, feel free to post them in the comment section. I know that there's a few people watching from YouTube, and there's a few people watching from the Facebook as well. I will go and I will check the comments on both of those, and I will respond with any, to any of your concerns that you might have. The place that I mentioned earlier that you can purchase your dried herbs from is Mountain Rose Herbs, and I do not have any affiliation with them whatsoever. They're just a very reputable company. I also get dried herbs from Mrs. Mango and Company, and I've mentioned her before in several videos. She's actually she was my herbalist for many, many years and helped me to train to become an herbalist as well. So and I can post those in the comment section if you want to know the links to those. If you do prefer that I make them for you, I can do that as well. So if you would like for me to just make the teas and post them in my shop, then I can do that as well. But like I said, I love it when people start to create things for themselves, right? And you feel so good whenever you create an item and then you try it for yourself. You might prefer to have an abundance of the lemongrass in this tea, so you would put in more lemongrass than you would the other ingredients. I actually have in more rooibos tea in here. That's my very first ingredient, and then my last ingredient is the marshmallow root, because I don't need a lot of support for my lungs. Most of what I want is from the orange peel, which is a vitamin C. So, but it's meant to work as it's a very synergistic blend, right? If you have no further questions, I'm going to say farewell here until next Tuesday for the other episode of Tea with me. And but I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wisdom Wednesday, so you can check that episode out as well. I'm not sure what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, but I can tell you that it's going to be good. So tomorrow I will go live, I think around 1 o'clock. But you will see the post. I will share the link, and you can set a reminder for yourself to come and join me tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. But if not, then I will see you next week again for another episode of Tea Time. You know what? I didn't even ask you, what were you guys drinking today? I was drinking this particular herbal tea that I was just talking about, but did you guys bring your own drinks with you? This is my cup that I'm drinking it from. It's quite big. So whenever I drink tea, it's not a dainty little cup like it's usually done. Right. Oh, Ruby, this was your first time? Thank you so much for being here. Yes, so you did get a reminder. All right, so whenever I share these links, there's usually a spot on there that says set reminder. So just go ahead and click that on, and then you'll get a reminder whenever I go live. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create the link for tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday if you want to join me then as well. But thank you so much for joining me here today. I know it's a little bit longer. There were a lot of ingredients, and hopefully, I shared a lot of information that is going to help you. All right. So I will see you again next week. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please just click the subscribe button and join the family. And go ahead and click the bell as well, because it will notify you whenever I upload new content. And I'm going to be live pretty regularly from here on out, because I will be definitely sharing them to, or streaming to multiple platforms from here on out. If you have any questions, again, like I said, just please feel free to share them in the comment section. And once I'm off the live stream, I will go ahead and I will check those out. So thank you again. And it's been a real pleasure. And Ruby, thank you for being here. You said it was your first time. I appreciate you being here. Thank you all, and I will see you again soon.